Be it her legendary father Ric Flair or the fact that she had the athletic background and ability to make it to the top of the WWE Women's division, Charlotte Flair certainly seemed to have everything going for her. Such a position attracts its share of controversy. Charlotte is one of the most respected, as well as one of the most hated women in wrestling. Most fans don't know what she's gone through in her personal life, but some of the wildest stories show it's not easy to be Charlotte Flair. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. When Charlotte entered wrestling, she needed a lot of help. Despite having a great relationship with Ric Flair, Arn Anderson did not want to show favoritism. Charlotte speaks for herself. She's a phenomenon when she first got here, and this is kind of out in the open, because I had this conversation with her. I kind of stayed away from her for a while. I didn't want anyone saying she got any special treatment. Arn's helping her more than the rest of the kids because she's Ric's daughter. I knew her before she was born. Ric Flair went on to say that Charlotte was so affected by Arn praising someone other than her as the best, she had called him upset. He didn't want to show Charlotte any favoritism. I'll never forget. He went to NXT and spoke to the crowd. He said, "Sasha Banks, you're the best thing going here today." Charlotte called me and goes, "Uncle Arn said Sasha's better than me." Arn would say why he treated second-gen stars in this manner at times. Now she knows. These kids will tell you. The Joe Hennigs, Cody Rhodes, even Dustin Rhodes. I'm on them worse than anybody. It's because I see the potential. When it comes to her father, Ric Flair, Charlotte noted that it's difficult being the daughter of the Nature Boy. Being his daughter is a mixed blessing. There is a constant chip on my shoulder for always wanting to be recognized for my talent and not just for being his daughter. But honoring his legacy is very important to me and has always been one of the factors that keeps me motivated. Sometimes her father goes too far. Ric decided he had had enough of WWE sidelining him, even though he had technically retired from the ring. He felt when WWE gave Becky Lynch the moniker The Man, it was stepping into his territory, and that it was his. He was looking to trademark the words The Man, and was looking to sue WWE. He was hoping to be compensated for WWE's use of the word. WWE was naturally unhappy about this, but reportedly Charlotte was really upset about her father wanting to sue her employer. At the time, Charlotte and Becky were best friends. Eventually, Ric dropped the matter somewhat. He then appeared on WWE shows supporting his daughter. She would not be happy about that either, as she preferred to step out of his shadow and perform herself. Ric Flair has enjoyed the limelight and has not been shy to acknowledge his status as a legend. Now 72 years old, he has gone through a few health scares, none strong enough to deter him from his passion. Ric has been closely following WWE as the company navigated the COVID pandemic, even during the long periods of inactivity of his daughter, though Charlotte returned at December's TLC pay-per-view, where she teamed with Asuka and won the Women's Tag Team Championship. Ric was proudly watching the match on a monitor backstage at the Thunderdome inside Tropicana Field in Tampa. This was just another day for Ric, it seems. Flair has shared, "I make my wife, who is a fan but now is more than a casual fan, watch with me. She's an opinionated fan now. That's the worst, right? We watch all 3 shows. I watched more than I thought I was when my daughter was off. I wanted to stay up with the women's division and everything. We watch all the time and we enjoy the product. I think COVID and competition from programming has caused problems, but I think the company continues to thrive. And for everything that might seem different, they come up with something unique and a surprise. This Thunderdome thing has become huge. The virtual audience has become huge. The graphics, the technology, I think the company is #1 commodity in sports entertainment, period. I'd argue that with anybody. For fans and stars within wrestling, Charlotte's return and immediate title shot was not acceptable. Ric has heard this, and when asked who it affects more amongst the two, he laughed and said, "Me." Despite Charlotte having a long way to go in her career, Ric believes she has already established herself as a legend. Calling Charlotte the top name in wrestling is saying a lot. Only time will tell if Charlotte can become the best. In an interview with Muscle and Fitness, Charlotte revealed she never wanted to be a wrestler, but it was something she did for her brother. Yes, I'm Ric Flair's daughter, but just because he was a wrestler didn't mean that I wanted to be a wrestler, but having the sports background and playing volleyball in college, the athleticism came naturally to me. I think that was the only thing that kept me in the game when I first started. After Ric Flair passed away in 2013, she decided to honor Reed's memory by throwing herself into wrestling. Charlotte went on to say once she entered wrestling properly, she was enjoying it. I just dedicated everything to him. Having a character and knowing anything about wrestling, performing, stage fright, none of those things came naturally to me. But just being in the ring and being physical and being able to outshine or keep up with the other guys and girls in the ring when I first started, that was big to me. Charlotte's brother Reed was the one who motivated her to become a pro wrestler after he did not become one himself. In 2013, Reed unfortunately passed away at the age of 25. He had a rocky life, and the young man was plagued with legal and drug issues. He was found dead in a hotel room from a heroin overdose. Charlotte has always shared kind words about her brother, and has thanked him for pushing her to become a wrestler. In an interview with Fox Nation, she said he wanted to be Ric Flair, and he was having a hard time, so I said okay, if I go down to our training facility in Orlando, maybe he'll get on the right path and I can help him, and we can do it together. He ended up passing away a year later in 2013, and I say if it wasn't for him, I would have never found this opportunity, and this is my destiny. And I spent so many years trying to save his life, and he saved mine, and I thank him every day. For all the good she had to say about her brother on Monday Night Raw, Reed's death was turned into a cheap narrative. Paige decided to split from Charlotte publicly, asserting Charlotte hardly earned her spot as champ. Paige believed she was more deserving of the gold and called Charlotte Baby Flair for rising to fame thanks to Daddy Dearest. It was Charlotte who first brought up her late brother when talking about the better parts of her and Paige's history. While she didn't exactly linger on the topic, it was enough to bring discomfort to the crowd. Charlotte was talking about how much fight she had in her and how much fight her family had in them. When Paige replied, "Your little baby brother, he didn't have much fight in him, did he?" WWE had no right in exploiting the addiction and struggles of a late wrestler. Elizabeth Flair was left to watch how her dead son was dragged into the story. Instead of trying to generate emotion through well-planned angles, WWE decided to play a cheap move and shock people. But according to the company, subject matter this personal is only approved as a result of the strong advocacy of the talent themselves. Lacking details, the statement basically implied that it was Charlotte who wanted this to happen. Rick defended his daughter, saying she was in no position to be able to turn down story ideas in this stage of her career. WWE did ensure to state that any backlash over this matter was not to be directed towards Charlotte, stating that notwithstanding that, WWE is ultimately responsible for what airs on its programming. In her book Second Nature, Charlotte talked about difficulties in her relationship with Ricky Johnson. She gave up her D1 volleyball scholarship at Appalachian State to be with him. While she saw something in him, things took a sharp turn. Ricky was Jekyll and Hyde. If he was happy, things were great. He was the man of my dreams. If he was angry, everyone knew it, and it would be taken out on someone or something. She described how bad it was for her when they were living together in Chapel Hill. Ricky started swinging at me like we were in a street fight. Over his screams, I could hear his fist hit my arms. I managed to block most of the punches, but one shot got me in the ribs. I began to gasp for air, but he didn't stop. Ricky punched me right in the head. I think about that girl now, and it brings tears to my eyes. How did I get there? Why was this going on? Why wasn't I strong enough, brave enough to win this? Being a top star in a company like WWE, many were surprised to hear rumors that one of Charlotte's matches with Nia Jax turned into a fight. Nia and Charlotte were facing off in August on Raw when the two started to exchange what looked like real shots. They were not happy, and it seemed the match had devolved into a scrap. Nia even dropped Charlotte with one of these shots, and it was clear Flair was unhappy. PW Insider revealed what fans had seen, and that match was real and not scripted. Nia had dropped Charlotte on her head, which kicked things off between them, and they started to beat each other up before abruptly ending the bout. Devon Dudley talked about what happened between the two, and according to him, things like this happen often in the ring. A lot of people suspect Nia and Charlotte got into it heavy. I even heard some reports that they were beating each other up in the back. Number one, they weren't beating each other up in the back. Something happened in the ring. They handled it the way they handled it, and they got over it. It's as simple as that, they got over it. Were things done in the ring? I think it's obvious. No dirt sheet writer can put me on blast and go, well, Devon said. No, everybody saw what happened this past Monday. It got a little rough. It happens. It's not the first time it happened, but of course, everyone is making a big deal out of it. Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch legitimately had beef. The former best friends got into it during a title swap segment on SmackDown, where Charlotte was supposed to hand Becky her title but dropped it. Becky, on the other hand, threw her belt at her, angry with Charlotte for spoiling the segment. Charlotte had reportedly not wanted to do a title swap in the first place and had decided to ruin it when WWE went ahead with it. Soon after, in the backstage area, they had a shouting match that did not get physical. It was sad enough she didn't have her best friend anymore, but there are rumors now that she has broken up with her fiancé Andrade. Cassidy Haynes talked about it and said the two were no longer together. After speaking with multiple sources, I can confirm that the two are no longer together. Sources indicated that the breakup did not appear to be mutual, and that it was Charlotte who ended the relationship. I was not given any details as to why the relationship came to an end, only that the two were officially done as of a couple of weeks ago. Andrade appeared to say that it was fake news on Twitter, and Raj Giri has said he has gotten word that the two are together. Whatever the state of their relationship, Charlotte is not going through a good time. And these were the wildest things said about Charlotte Flair. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.